Hey, and welcome to the 2026 first edition of What's Next. Robert Giovanetti with Joey McGuire. I guess this is season 2, right? As we
no doubt.
A new season. And so last time we talked, we're getting ready for the Orange Bowl. A lot has happened since then. How's it been going for you?
Yeah, it's been great. Really excited too, because we're finally off the road. The last 3 weeks before this week, we're high school recruiting and visiting high schools around the state, and then I did go to the Senior Bowl practice in Mobile. I went to the Shrine Bowl practice in Frisco to see our guys. So it's good to be back full time in Lubbock, and today is our first culture meeting. Bringing this to literally the first slide is building the 2026 Texas Tech Red Raiders, and
that's awesome.
And so today's really the first day where we're as a team starting to talk about our culture
again, which I think was an underutilized, underlooked at story from last year's team, which was those guys really seem to have, and again, it's a word that gets bandied about a lot, but you seem to really kind of ooze that as how you coach and how your staff coaches about the culture that surrounds the team.
Yeah, we talk about it, again, you're getting a deep dive in, or not a deep dive, but a little bit of behind the scenes, pulling the curtain back, which is awesome. That's why we do this. But, we're trying to create a rare bond. And with the coaching staff the same way. Garrett has named himself as the staff coordinator of building the rare bond. And we try to do that. I mean, I think the closer the staff is, the better, but that's the key with the team. We're trying to develop this rare bond. We've already started our breakfast meetings with those guys to where they go to different groups. Today, the key at the end of the meeting is, what's your why? I think it's really important for me to understand why Sorsby does X, Y, and Z and what he's trying to do. Why Micah Hudson is trying to become the best version of himself. Why Ben Roberts is trying to become the best version of himself. So on and on throughout the roster. So we've got them split up just like we split their breakfast groups up. What's cool now is we're all here. You've got coaches in those groups. You've got trainers in those groups. Zane, the equipment staff, is in those groups.
Oh, awesome.
Everybody that's in this building that does everything with the football team, they each have a group today, and Zane gets to talk about what why he does what he does. And so I think that's the beginning of developing that rare bond and getting us to be able to do what we're going to do in 2026.
That's fantastic. There's a restaurant right across the street that last couple of weeks we've had job candidates we've taken over there, and I've seen your group, different groups. And how do you put those together? How are those split up?
Yeah, Gentry does it for me, our head dietitian, and it's really literally she'll grab a coach, a strength coach, a trainer, any of that, and then she just pulls from each position. So there's going to be receivers on a group, there's going to be DBs, there's going to be O-linemen, D-linemen, quarterback, running back, specialist, and it's just a mixed group. And as we know, I think everybody understands that some of the best times you have is whenever you get to sit down and break bread together and just talk about life and talk about your day and get to know each other. And it's really cool. You start seeing Hunter Zambrano is a huge UFC fan. Well, we have a new strength coach, Coach Watkins, and he yesterday I'm a huge UFC fan, so Hunter and I were talking about UFC, and then A. White goes, man, I freaking love UFC. So then they start talking. So that's what the breakfasts are for, is to create those conversations so we get to know each other. Because, man, so many people, and two, they tell their story that you're almost like, man, I don't have anything in common with that guy. And then all of a sudden you learn each other's story and you're like, man, we may be from the different part of the state or the nation, but we really grew up the same way.
Yeah.
Or we've been through some tough things in the same way, and that's what creates that bond.
Yeah, I said this first time we've talked here. We have talked. We were talking the other day about signing day.
Yeah.
And so it used to be a big deal, and normally we'd be doing this show right now talking about, because today's first Wednesday in February, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
10 years ago, you only had this signing day. This was the signing day 10 years ago.
So it's wild how that changed, but the thing that I was noticing, like at the breakfast, I saw a couple of true freshmen. Really aren't even freshmen. Yeah. They just got here. I mean, they should be
mid-year.
They should be
in high school.
First period right now.
Yeah.
How is that for those guys to kind of get they go from, man, a homeroom to whatever to now I've got this schedule.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming. So one thing that Dave Martin does, he does a really good job. He's our player development director, and so they've got big brothers, so guys that are in that now that we do it with that position, so let's say Sheridan Wilson may have Jacob Crow as his little brother, and so they've got somebody they can lean on, and it's a large group. We have 18 mid-year freshmen.
Crazy.
And so they're really coming together. Because it's such a large group, we can keep them in their own lift group. And that allows us to really spend a lot of time with them, developing them, and then in the weight room. And it doesn't slow up the older guys, that are in their third, fourth, or fifth year of college development. I will tell you this, and Lance Barlow has said this multiple times, the foundation of this freshman group is probably the best, strength-wise, probably the best strength foundation that we've had as a whole, which is really good because now that accelerates what they can do in the weight room.
That's fantastic. And it's funny seeing Chase Campbell because last year we were talking about Leighton Stone. These kids we've seen kind of grow up around the program. Chase's mom works with us. It's cool to see that too, to see him kind of integrating. And
we offered him as an 8th grader. And I've known him since I think he was in 6th grade. And so it's really cool to see him.
He's kind of freakishly athletic, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is. It all goes back to his mom. Yeah, I know his dad was a college athlete, but his mom's a rock star.
She's an Arkansas Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but they both are really, really athletic, but they're also have done a phenomenal job raising him. He's a unique, very mature mid-year freshman.
The thing about Chase is he's so polite.
Yeah.
And a nice young man off the field.
Yeah.
But see him on the field.
He's a dog.
He's a dog.
He's a dog.
He understands about,
between the white lines.
Yes, for sure.
It's really big.
Yeah. And so it's funny too, Leighton Stone, another guy we know, watched grow up, seeing him now, kind of an older guy, and it's always to me very almost gratifying to see these kids be able to do this.
Yeah, and man, I'm telling you, man, like whenever I actually sent a text out to Kirby, Mike Wallace, Dusty Womble in one group text. I sent another group text with Cody. I also texted Gary Peterson, I can't wait for everybody to see these guys, like right now and then as they grow. And I'm not talking about the freshmen, I'm talking about this team. This team is a very developed. We're a big football team, and so I'm really anxious for everybody to see that through spring, but just to get to meet the new guys and just see how, like you said, Leighton Stone, I mean, he's a freshman. He's fixed to be a redshirt freshman, and he's physically really developed and big, but just as a whole, we're a big football team.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Let's talk a little bit about Sorsby because a lot of the attention was on him on the offseason. We used him in a schedule reveal. He's seen him at basketball. He's sitting courtside at basketball. He seems to have ingrained himself. How much pressure on him? Because Barron was a leader of this team, and people kind of were drawn to Barron. And so Sorsby's got to take that from two aspects, right? Running the offense, but also being a team leader.
Yeah, it's really important. By nature of that position, most guys are, but most guys are not necessarily comfortable with being vocal. Sorsby's come in and really, I actually sent a text to his dad yesterday and told him, said, man, I'm really proud of him because he is being vocal. There's so many things that we can't do right now, and there's so many things we can do, but there's got to be some player-led stuff, meaning like on Saturdays, them getting up here and throwing on their own, and he's done a great job of bringing guys together and getting them up here to throw. He's got a really cool personality. I'm anxious for everybody to see it, and as it grows and him become more vocal. But man, he's special, and the thing that we've got to do a good job, and he's got to do a good job, is take a deep breath and make sure he remembers that it's we get to play a game and it's fun, and there's going to be pressure. There's a lot of expectations, but for example, I went to the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl practices, and all the scouts, of course, they want to talk about the guys that we have in the game and go through and how's Lee Hunter, is Lee Hunter's personality really like this, blah, blah, blah. But as I'm leaving or watching our guys, they're talking about a bunch of guys that we have on the team. And, of course, they're talking about Sorsby. I mean, he probably would, at the worst, third round, but, there's a really good chance he's a second-round draft pick if he's in the draft right now. And so he knows that. The reason he came back is to win the Big 12, win a national championship, have a great opportunity to win the Heisman, but also be the number one quarterback taken in the draft next year. And there's pressure whenever you say all that, but it's sure a lot of fun to chase that.
That's going to be fun to watch. You mentioned Lee, so it's impossible to replace Lee Hunter, David Bailey, J. Rod,
Mello Height.
Yeah. But you guys really filled some of those needs in the portal.
Yeah, we did. And, it's just going to be different. Like, I'd never want to say that, hey, man, we got the next David Bailey, because I don't know who that is. I mean, there's guys that are going to be able to be really productive. I do feel great, though, because what we did do is David Bailey is going to be an NFL draft pick, and we replaced it with an NFL draft pick. Adam Trick is going to be an NFL draft pick. We lost Mello Height. He's going to be an NFL draft pick. We replaced it with Trey White. He's going to be an NFL draft pick. We lose Lee Hunter, and we replace it. Mateen is going to be an NFL draft pick. Bryce Butler is going to be an NFL draft pick. Like, again, I've been guilty of hyping football teams, and I believe it, and so the results maybe did not live up to the hype. I go back and think about like a second year, but like this year, but like not taking my hype, taking the data of what the NFL scouts say. We're going to have a large number of guys drafted in this draft, has a chance to break the record of Red Raiders drafted in a draft.
Awesome. And
there are actually potentially more draft picks on this current team that we have. So it's one of those deals, man. Like, it's awesome to have. It's awesome, you're better coaches when you have better players.
Yeah.
And, I think whenever you have your better players, when you have better coaches, I think we have a great coaching staff, and it's a lot of fun right now to go chase the things that we're chasing.
Yeah, I'm better at my job on filling the stadium and things like that when the team's good.
Yeah.
Right? And it all kind of builds.
Yeah, you better get your tickets, man, because they're going to go fast.
And it's going to be a fun year. This is going to be a fun group to watch. And, we always talk about the portal. Everyone's talking about the portal. And I was reading an ESPN article that ranked the top 100 portal kids, and we had a bunch of them.
We had a bunch.
And
ESPN had us second yesterday that I read, behind LSU. On three, we're probably top three. I really follow those. I'm a big 247 high school recruiting, but they rank your high school number and as much as they do your college number. Well, if you've never played college football and you've been in college for X amount of years, that number doesn't equate anymore. Where like some of ESPN and On3, they look at more of like what you've done in college when you're talking about these transfer guys. And so, of course, it lends to us for better rankings. So, of course, I'm going to lean that away.
Oh, yeah.
But, I believe in what we've done. And, man, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm glad that we're off the road. These last couple days have been the best days since the Orange Bowl, because we do have some really great guys. And, Matt Dowdy and his crew are going to start pushing that out of, like, I think last year, we had those different to where you get to know these guys. But man, what I'm fired up about too is the guys we got coming back. We got the Big 12 championship game MVP in Ben Roberts coming back to lead this defense. We got John Curry coming back to help him lead this defense. Bryce Pollock is going to be one of the best corners in the nation coming back. You know, B.J. Jordan, he's a guy that he gets overshadowed kind of like Ben, and this is a guy he's like a true senior. This is going to be his 4th year playing for the Red Raiders, and it's cool to see him really starting to open up and use his voice to be a leader.
Yeah, you know, we were thinking back on how great the running game was last year.
Yeah, man.
Guys are coming back.
We've got those 2 guys coming back, the only 2 in the country that had 1,300 all-purpose yards. We just put that out, and they're both back. And then Q Joyner, he is in a really good spot. Like, he has started his land running, and so he's in a really good spot. You get him back, and you added some guys. Like, you added some more true running backs. And, I'm excited about that. Like, Adam Hill had a really good year for us at running back, but we recruited him to move him to linebacker, and now we're able. So he is now with Shield at inside linebacker. And, man, I can't wait to watch him do what he's going to do, because I think that is going to be a more natural position. That's what we recruited him for out of high school. We just couldn't do it the last couple of years because our depth in that room. We've added some more depth in that room that's going to allow us to put him on that side of the ball.
Last year was so amazing, so fun. Win the Big 12, everything else. Playing in the Orange Bowl. I know it didn't end the way any of us wanted.
Right.
None of us. But is it kind of cool then to kind of say, okay, we'll set that aside, and now here's a new challenge for us?
It is. But you know what's really, first go back to the Big 12 and everything. Like, Red Raiders, I will never get tired of y'all coming up and saying, thank you. That has been the coolest thing. And it took me a little bit to appreciate that, not from them, but for me, because, if you don't win your last game, then it's always disappointing.
Yeah,
you didn't achieve what you wanted to achieve. And so the Orange Bowl kind of hung over me for a minute. And it was funny. I was at home, and we had all the ice, and we beat Houston, so it was the next day. It was a Sunday, and Charlie and I are kind of out in the backyard, and he's walking through the snow, and I just kind of smiled, and there was a moment of like,
Charlie's your dog.
Yeah, my dog is like, dude, we're the Big 12 champs.
Yeah.
So I've been able to appreciate that, but you move that aside, and now it's the chase to really figure out who this team is and go win it again. Now we go from the hunter to the hunted. Like I think we had a target on our back last year, but for a different reason, because we were the disruptor. We were kind of the agents of chaos because we were doing things different in the Big 12. Now it's going to be, we're the Big 12 champs, so everybody's going to be, chasing us. But the great thing is we're going to be able to create an edge because we're chasing that 2026 trophy, and then we want to grow from that and do better in the playoffs when we get there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So season 2 of What's Next is underway.
Here we go.
We got our Matt Dowdy.
Yeah, we got our Matt Dowdy.
Dylan. Hopefully Debbie can start fresh with season 2.
We'll see.
And keep
she
up.
said she's caught up. We'll see if she keeps up.
I don't believe that.
I don't either.
Looking forward to a great spring and moving ahead. For Joey McGuire, I'm Robert Giovanetti. Reckham, this has been What's Next.